Japan has always been and will always be a country close to my heart. I spent 4 years in Japan. I lived there. I learned their language. I speak it fluently. I love a lot of things that have to do with Japan, Japanese culture, Japanese subculture, history, anything really. I freaking love Japan. Which leads to this. So, Sanae Takaichi, or Takaichi Sanae, if we want to go the Japanese way, is set to become Japan's first female prime minister. Now, this already is going to make some minds explode. Because, I mean, think about it. First female prime minister is like a milestone for feminists, right? So they're going to be so happy about this. Problem is, though, she's a conservative. And in fact, for what I heard, strongly so. I don't know if we're talking ultra-conservative, but yeah. So I can already imagine it's like a glitch in the matrix for feminism. This is a glitch in the matrix. I absolutely love this hue of blue that she wears. Anyway, a few days ago I made a post on my ex, and honestly, if you're not following me there, I don't know what you're doing. You're really missing out. You should click the link in the description and pin comment. And I asked you guys, what do you guys, I guess, think about her? Because I really want to know what you, noble ones, think about her as a solution, if you will, to a lot of problems that have been happening in Japan. There are 283 comments to this, so we're going to read some of your opinions and I will sort of respond on camera to see what I think. But definitely one thing I would like to underline is that considering the kind of problems that Japan has had to deal with, particularly recently, do I think that this could be a solution? Yes. Is it the best possible solution? I haven't got a clue. Also because I understand that she's as we said, she's a right-winger, she's a conservative, and generally speaking, when it comes to preserving tradition, I think conservatism is the way. However, what we do need to ask, or at least that's something I personally ask whenever something like this comes up, is, okay, she's right-wing, but how right-wing? Because as a moderate, even though, as you know, I've literally declared war to the radical left, I do also have problems with the extreme right-wing, with the alt-right. I have problems with extremism. It's just that, as you know, I've been focusing on left-wing extremism because it's the one that shoots people in the neck. So there is that. How right-wing are we talking? Usually when it comes to Wikipedia, if it's like very basic information, they get it right. But when you go into the nitty-gritty details, then they start getting things wrong. She is a Japanese politician who has served as the president of the Liberal Democratic Party. Goodness gracious, she looks younger. She had several ministerial posts under Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, or the one who got assassinated. Political party LDP. Alright, so the Liberal Democratic Party, frequently abbreviated to LDP or Jiminto, is a major conservative and nationalist political party in Japan. Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's nationalist doesn't surprise me, because Japan is an extremely nationalist, patriotic, conservative, and traditionalist country. Like in general. I'm not saying that every Japanese is like this, no, of course. But I'm saying in general, percentage-wise, I think these are some of the characteristics of Japanese society. What can they tell us about her before we read your comments? Japan's ruling Conservative Party has elected Sanae Takaichi as its new leader, positioning the 64-year-old to be Japan's first female prime minister. How she looks 50. Takaichi is among the more conservative candidates, so we are kind of hard right, as they call it, perhaps, leaning to the ruling party's right, a former government minister, TV host, and an avid heavy metal drummer. Okay, what? I'm sorry, I didn't expect that. Let me read that again. Takaichi is among the more conservative candidates leading to the ruling party's right, a former government minister, TV host, and avid heavy metal drummer. Based. She is one of the best known figures in Japanese politics, and a controversial one at that. It is BBC, so of course it's going to be controversial to you. To you, anything that is 1 inch right of Stalin is going to be controversial anyways, so I'm going to ignore that part. So they call it an ultra conservative. All right, let me see what you guys think. Maybe you can clear this one out, because journalists hamstrung by the political reality of Japan's plummeting birth rate. Okay, let me say a thing or two about plummeting birth rate, because this isn't just a problem with Japan. It is a massive problem in Japan, but it is a problem in the West as well. So the problem with a low birth rate is something that needs to be addressed, because if you don't address it, what happens is that the average age of your population, because as a government, you have to look at the population as a whole, the average age of your population is going to be higher and higher and higher. And what that does is, of course, creates problems, because the higher the average age, the higher the number of people people that are not able to work anymore, that need to be supported by the younger generations that aren't working, and also there are health concerns, of course. So it's always good for a country when you have a net positive of birth rates. And generally speaking, there are two actions that a government can take in order to address the problem of low birth rates that are causing a general increase in average age, but also a decrease of population numbers. One is incentivize births. In other words, the government will give you monetary incentives for you to have kids. More kids, in fact. You have 2 kids, you get more money, pretty much. You have 1 kid, great. You get 2 kids, more money. 3 kids, more money. More support. And that usually works really well because a lot of the times people don't reproduce because they don't feel financially stable. And of course, one way to address that would be tackling unemployment. That's a massive problem in Italy. I'm not sure how unemployment rates are in Japan, but definitely in general, economic incentives for families that are going to have children is a fantastic way to counterbalance the problem of birth rates. And due to sheer numbers, this is going to benefit mostly the native population. Alternative, the other action you can do is to have millions, tens of millions of immigrants to replace the native population and increase the numbers that way. Note that I call them actions, not solutions, because the first one is a solution, the second one is not. But it is indeed an action that some politicians, particularly in the left, are pushing. And before any of you tells me that's not true, I'll prove it to you. No more gaslighting, I'm coming with receipts. Look at what Senator Chuck Schumer from the Democratic Party said about this.
Now more than ever, we're short of workers. We have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
Probably over 50 million, honestly, and never mind 11 million. But yes, so, as you could see, this is an action that the left has been trying to engineer for a while. Notice he said all of them. The dreamers, all of them, path to citizenship so they become voters. This is what this, it's power rebalance. That's all there is to it. There is no, oh, but we care about these people. No, you don't. You care about their votes at the expenses of the native populations. Do you want, I want to ask this right now, because I tell it how it is. Hate me all you want. Do you want Japan to look like this? Is this going to become Japan? Are you okay with it? This is going to become, this is Japan. Look at that. Look at these, look at all these Japanese. Japan. Okay? So this is one way, I guess, to address the problem of low birth rates. Or this. And I include this picture as well, by the way. I don't have a problem with legal immigration. I do have a problem with substitution, though. Boom. This is Japan. This is Japan. And it needs to remain so. This is Japan. So, I don't know the exact policies, and I'm sure that there will be some policies from this ultra-conservative candidate that I will probably disagree with because I'm a moderate. But I'm not stupid. And I understand that sometimes, if the radical left pushes too much, and they want to turn this into this for votes, then I'm going to tell you, oh, I probably she is the one then. Again, I don't know. You tell me. Let's keep reading. She says nice words. We will see if her actions match up. That's excellent. Yeah, that's a good point. It says she started expelling the Muslims. Again, the illegal. Let's add the illegal. And by the way, just addressing the situation with the Muslims, it's because there are some Muslims that absolutely tell you, oh yeah, you guys are having no children. We have like 5, 6, 8 children, and so we will replace you. They say this. They say this. And they hate us. There are absolutely some Muslims. I'm not talking about the little small family of Muslims that are nice, live next to you, they smile to you, how you doing. I'm not talking about those who entered legally. I'm talking about people that absolutely hate us, hate Japanese, hate anyone who isn't a Muslim. You know they exist. They blew up the Twin Towers. You can't deny that. I mean, people do try to deny that, but whatever. And those are the ones that absolutely need to be expelled. I agree. She better not be too extreme. Other than that, good luck to her. And I understand Marine sentiment. Some of you will say, no, as extreme as it gets, it's good. Fine. I agree with Marine, though. That's my position, right? I'm still a moderate. What I'm seeing, base, good, still fast to judge, but hope she controls the LDP to what a lot of Japanese wish for her to do for the future of Japan. Great. I'm a little concerned about her stance on censorship. Other than that, we'll see how she does. I have no idea. What's her stance on censorship? Wartime history, maybe? History needs to represent the truth. So if they're going to change that, then I will disagree with that. No idea if that's the case. You'll let me know, I'm sure. For what I've seen of her policy, she sounds solid. I wish she wasn't female. Yeah, that's what I mean. Who cares, Jerry? Like, who cares? The policies have precedence. Like, if as a female she starts electing women to power, even though they are less prepared than men, then I can be with you and be like, what the heck is she doing? But as long as she doesn't do that, and her policies are straight and they're correct, I personally don't have a problem with that. I mean, I respect your opinion to share what you think. It's not like I'm going to delete your comment or block you. You prefer, in fact, I have this question for you, Jerry. I understand that what you would prefer is a right-wing guy in power, fine. But imagine that you had to choose between a right-wing female or a radical leftist male. Who would you choose? And if the answer is what I think, then it means that policies have precedence over sex. Female right-wing politicians have an awful track record, but hopefully I think Japan will remain undefeated. So imagine that you don't like Meloni in Italy. Optimistic yet skeptical. Okay, not many right-wing politicians follow through with their promises. Wait a second, Alessandro. Be straight about this. No many politicians follow through with their promises. Let's not just try and say it's only the right wing, because it's nonsense. The pendulum swings. Now let's get ready for the whiplash. Okay. If she's against censorship, she may be exactly what Japan needs. If she's against it, then yes. If that's her stance, then fantastic. I like her so far for the most part. I just hope she doesn't do anything to censor anime or video games. Right, so basically that's what they're saying. If she tries to censor anime, it depends what they mean by censor. Because if she's taking out the political pandering or the pushing of transgender issues into anime and manga for children, then yes, she should absolutely censor that shit. But if she's censoring because an anime or a manga intended for an adult shows some breasts, then no. I mean, who cares at that point? But I like her stances on other things like nationalism and immigration. Yeah. I think these are particularly immigration, but in general, I think these are the ones that really matter in the current situation in Japan. Neo says she's great, a true conservative. Japan is on good tracks now. Well, we'll see. I guess not Japanese, so I don't have an opinion. That's kind of weird. Why do you not have an opinion? They call it Japan's Donald Trump. Seems like a lot of people agree with her positions on immigration, and at the end of the day, again, we'll have to see. Let's see, Takaichi is the first, I don't care. She hardly touched on gender issues during the campaigns, but on Saturday, as she tried out the party's president's chair and posted for a photo, as is customary for the newly elected leader, Takaichi said, open quotes, now that the LDP has its first female president, its scenery will change a little, close quotes. All right, well, we'll have to see once again how that is the case. All right, all they talk about is gender equality. I'm going to skip this. Takaichi has called for a stronger military, more fiscal spending for growth. Fine, good. Promotion of nuclear fusion. I mean, a topic I'm not well versed in, but in general. Cybersecurity and tougher policies on immigration. Great. All of this is fantastic. Absolutely, you need to have tougher policies on immigration. Illegal immigration needs to be tackled and solved. It is a problem. The only thing when it comes to immigrants is the legal immigrants, which I'm in favor of. With that being said, making sure that they are constructive members of society, because if you hate the West, stay out of the West, is what I always say, and legal or not. And at the same time, at this point, if she says, if you hate the East, stay out of the East, I would tell her based. But I know that there are people that are like, no, we hate all immigrants, legal or not. And yeah, I have a problem with that as an immigrant myself, of course, which is why I tell you, when you go into the ultra-conservative sphere, sometimes I'm like, it depends. What are they saying? As I always say, if you have refugees and people that need help, absolutely, I want to offer help, but within a system that, of course, has limited resources. And so we have to keep that in mind. Otherwise, the system collapses and you can't have millions and millions and millions of waves. And then when it comes to legal immigration, it's illegal. It shouldn't even be a talking point. It's illegal. She vowed to drastically increase female ministers in her government. That's a little iffy because it sounds DEI. No, you should increase competent ministers in your government. So that's, if it's true, then I disagree with this, because you need to allow competent ministers in your government, and if they happen to be female, who cares? This is you know when I was telling you about equality, that would be real equality. But anyways, I want to hear it from her mouth rather than someone saying it. Journalism being unbiased, good luck with that. Now, it's interesting because patriotism, to me, is good. Nationalism, to me, can be good as long as it's not pushed to extremes. And in fact, it's better than people that are self-loathing. Definitely better than people that are self-loathing of their own culture, of their own ethnicity, of their own nation. It doesn't mean that you can't have opinions that go against the politicians and measures and policies of your nation. That's fine. But to hate your own people, at that point, I'd take a nationalist over you. As long as they're not the extreme nationalists. And then there are those people within, usually the brackets of nationalism, that go into the toxic sphere and they are like, I'm not supportive of those. I don't like any form of toxicity. Anyways, well, we have an idea. Let me know. I'll probably have to make more videos about this, but absolutely let me know what you think. I'll review your comments, and then I will use your comments as a way to continue studying about this and see how it goes. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, number ones. See you tomorrow. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure my ability to continue to tell it how it is, regardless of any possible backlash, please support this channel on Patreon. Any support helps me and my team of academics keep the channel strong and gives us the means to fight back against the political rewriting of history. Stand with us, form the wall, defend the truth.